Hello. It looks like we're on.
Hello. Hey, everybody. Hey. Hey, guys. Hey, guys. Kathy here. Jeanette here.
Hi.
Well, there she is. I'm just adjusting my crazy awesome tripod real quick. So we look totally off. So we look good. So you can see us. I'm going to move my crazy lamp a little bit out of the way, maybe like that. Like maybe. I have this crazy tripod that's so awesome. Okay. All right, I'm going to put my head where the light is. And then Jeanetta's right here.
Hello.
Hi, Judy. Hey, Steph.
Hey, guys. I'm watching on my phone, too, so I can catch the comments. So
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you. Thanks. That's awesome. So I'm just trying to adjust a little bit. So everybody come in. I am Kathy Weller, art. This is new. The little heads pop up. That's funny.
Yeah, that is a new thing. I heard about that.
That is cool. So I am Kathy Weller, art. This is Jeanetta Gonzales, surface designer, illustrator, letterer extraordinaire. I also do lettering. I also do illustration. Hey, Laura Wayne, how are you? So we are both artists and art licensors. I don't want to speak for Jeanetta here. She can speak for herself. But we were, this is totally off the cuff today.
Yes, it's off the cuff. I was about to say that.
So we're just, hey, Erica, how are you? Welcome. Hey, Franchelle. So me and Jeanetta are just having a little chat on the Skype. And, she is really an awesome Periscoper. If you don't follow her, you should. Because she does a lot of Periscopes. And she is one of the Heart to Art artists who have that wonderful Facebook group. Mm-hmm. And her and Anne. And we're probably all fans of it and all members of it. No. And so we were just talking, having a good art chat. And she's like, we got to Periscope this. Because this is good info. So today we're going to talk about being vulnerable, being afraid, being a little bit scared to try something, even if it doesn't feel like insecurity, which sometimes for me it doesn't, but I make up all these other little reasons in my head. So everybody struggles with this. Yeah. And if they say they're not, I don't want to call anybody a liar or anything, but you can draw your own conclusions. What do you think, Jeanetta?
Oh, yeah. We all, because Kathy and I were just chatting away. Can you guys hear me? Yes?
Can you hear Jeanetta? I'm going to turn my fan off real quick.
Okay, and make sure your volume's up too. Can you guys? Yes, you can hear me. Okay, good. Yeah, Kathy and I were just having a girl chat, and we were talking. Oh, good, you need this today. Yeah, we were having a girl chat, and we were talking about the things we want to do in our lives and how we want to build our empires, and we're just dreaming big, right? But in the meantime, as we're working on these things, we've been really feeling really vulnerable about putting ourselves out there, mm-hmm. and we're just offering one another support, advice, and information on that, and it's so important, I think, to have your support group and have other artists who are in the trenches with you. And so that's what we're having this conversation today. And then Kathy and I were just going back and forth, and we had all these great tips for one another. And I'm like, we need to get our butts on Periscope and just have this conversation with the world, because there are other artists out there who probably want to hear the same thing that, I got on the phone with her today to talk about. So that's what we're here. It's just more girl chat, art chat. And I know how this started for me is because I started doing some coaching. Actually, I'm doing coaching, and I'm doing a few other things, and I'm thinking about putting some classes together. And her and I were just talking about just all the new things we want to do with our businesses, and how we've been just feeling really afraid to start.
Yeah, I just thought of something really good.
Yeah,
it's almost like fear management or insecurity management in a way, because it's not a one and done thing. It's you got to constantly manage that. This morning I got up and I was kind of I knew what I needed to do, but it's hard sometimes when you're doing something. Hey, Emma, you're doing something and you got to get out of your own way. Like you're like, there's something in your head that's like, I have to take baby steps because, I'm trying to do some stuff that like scares the crap out of me a little bit. And, I've been trying to do it for like, not trying, I've been working towards this, but now it's like, the further I get, the more steps I get towards what I want, the more the scary stuff comes, because the more vulnerable I get, because the more I'm like, okay.
It's the unknown, right?
Right. Well, now I really have to do it, because now I don't have excuses. Like, I have everything lined up that was in my way before, that was like a barrier. You know, so I have taken barriers out of the way. So now the only barrier is like the barrier in your head. How do I block? Do I swipe? Hey, it's Veronica. Someone.
Face and then you can hit block.
Okay, because somebody, I just gotta. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Emma. Yeah, so that's kind of like every day. It's like, especially like when you're building something new and you're like, oh, thanks, Emma. It's like Emma said, you saw it, right? You get an option. Yeah. So it's like managing your own psychology. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm, and like putting yourself in the best, most positive, most optimistic position to move forward, you know?
Can you tell them the analogy you gave me about the person?
Oh, yeah.
That was really good.
Thank you. I'm so glad that resonated with you. And I hate the word resonated, but I'm going to use it there. So it's so overused. But like, what word can you use? So one of the things about putting yourself out there, doing classes, putting yourself in a position of being a leader in something, knowing you're a leader inside, but being afraid. You're afraid of what other people are going to say, other people are going to think of you. They're not going to agree with your advice. Not everybody's going to agree with you, and a lot of people are not going to agree with you. Yep. And something that I noticed over this
out there, right?
What's that?
A lot of haters.
Haters going to hate, right?
Haters gonna hate.
I got that haters going to hate mug. I love it. So it's like, there's always someone, I have a person in my head that I know is going to be hating on me. Like if I up level myself, if I put myself in a higher position, or, you know what I'm trying to say? I'm losing my words. There's
that doubt in your mind, right?
Yeah.
And you personified it beautifully. She said, there's this person that lives in my head.
The little
that
person.
Is always the negative voice. Every time that I try to stretch myself or think I can do something, they hold me back, right?
Yeah. Well, now what happened was there's like this conglomeration of voices or people, faceless, but people that you're like, well, I know they're there, and I know they're gonna, they're gonna be pointing their finger at me and saying that,
it's awesome.
saying like I'm not a pro at this, and who are you to teach this?
Right.
But what I've sort of done is I sort of like have funneled it into this one person, and it is actually a real person, and that's it. But it's this one person. And that little person is like, it's actually like a little person. I see it in my brain. And that little person's like, and it's kind of good because in a way, like I've been able to, it makes my fear a lot smaller. Like, cause it makes you care less about what people think when you're like, oh, that is what my biggest fear is. Like this person's,
That's really good.
Blah.
That's really good. I just got chills when you said that.
Oh, cool.
You basically took all that fear and the unknown and the fear that I can't do this and I'm not good enough and all those thoughts. You put them all into one. You just personified them into a thing, a person that lives in your head.
Yeah.
That you can easily ignore and give a hand to, right? And you made it small. You made it contained. And because all of those thoughts just fly around you all day and they're everywhere and they're all, they just make you crazy. And I love that you just put them into this little box or it's a little person or whatever it is that you could just just get out of here. I don't need you anymore. And that's awesome because I know for me, like, those thoughts are bigger than me.
Yeah.
You know? And
they get out of control.
Smaller than you. That's what I'm trying to say. So
totally, like if you can sort of, well, it's not like something I did by design either. It just sort of like I just sort of noticed it. It was like, well, who's the person that like I'm gonna be more Judy? Like who's the person that I know is gonna be like the biggest peanut gallery? Like even if they didn't say it, like I know, you know, and it's just somehow that person materialized in my head. And now it's like, it makes it more between that and constantly being like you will never be able to raise yourself if you walk around caring what everybody thinks. Yeah. It's just not going to happen. Absolutely. You're never going to be able to reach your potential. You're never going to be able to like help the people you want to help and bring the value to the people that can use your value the most. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen if you're constantly worried because I'm going off on a diatribe here because there's like a lot of people who have similar stuff to give, but nobody has what you have to give and will be able to deliver it in the way that you deliver it and have your special magic. And that is what you have to give. Yeah. So,
yeah. And all of this, again, is easier said than done. And that's why we're having this conversation. And her and I were talking today because, you know, we keep blocking ourselves from moving forward in lots of little ways. And I think it's also just like an artist mentality, right? Like you're being very vulnerable. You're putting your work out there. What if people don't like it? That means they don't like me because your work is you. It's a reflection of you, right? It's your heart and soul. So it's an extremely vulnerable place to be. And, you know, and it doesn't even matter if it's art. I mean, it's still like anything you produce, anything you create, whether it's a class or whatever it is, like this is something that came from you, right? And you really want to share it with the world and help others. And God forbid somebody goes and poo-poos everything that you're doing, right? And then it just brings your whole world down because that was your world. That was you. Yeah. So I think we get caught up in those thoughts of like, oh, it's not going to be good enough and not everyone's going to love it. And what the heck would I do this now? Like, you know, we can go on. We can name 100 things that we think about that hold us back, right? Like, I'm sure we could, like, each of us, like, name at least 20 limiting thoughts that are in our head right now, you know? So,
I just thought of a really good one.
Yeah.
So here's your emotion, right? And you want to put your emotion into how you feel about what you're doing and what you're building. But you don't want to put your emotion into the fear part. So you want to pour
redirect it.
Right.
Yes.
You want to pour the emotion into what you're giving, what your value is, and like the content that you're providing and creating. And then when it comes time to like light the match and start the fire, you got to remove like when you're putting yourself out there, that part is when you have to sort of take, and I hate to say this, but men are from Mars and women are from Venus, and we are very much ruled by our emotional states, oftentimes more than men are. And
absolutely,
the way I think about it, it's like, you got to think like a guy. Like, so if I'm building this thing and I have this value that I need to give you guys because you need to, right? You want to, it's like, it's what you have to give. And how do I do that without like getting out of my own way? You think like a guy, you just, every time, like you put the value on the table, you have your content, you have what you're going to do. And then you take out that little, you know, emotional part. You take out all the negative stuff or all like you can't see me. Okay, there you can see me now.
No, I see you.
Okay.
It looks like I'm looking at you. It's actually kind of cool.
Okay. You got it.
I'm looking at the camera and I'm looking at you too.
Yeah, so you can see me. So it's, you got to take out the what ifs and the but and the, and it's hard, right? That's why it's hard. That's why it's like management. It's not like one and done. It's like
emotional management. Yes. I have so many ideas, but even more fears. Yeah. So what do we do about that, right? Like, how do we think like a guy? How do we shut that down? And it's practice.
Yeah.
I think it's practice. I think you have to, whatever you have to do, and that's how I've done with coaching clients too, like whatever it is specifically that's holding you back, we try to figure out, like, get to the nitty gritty of that. And that's not easy to do either. I mean, you got to figure out, like, where in my childhood was I so wounded that I feel like a loser right now as an adult. Like, it really comes down to, like, stuff like that. Like,
yes,
you gotta get rid of that, because it will haunt you and haunt you and haunt you. And wherever it comes from, and maybe it's not important always to know where it comes from, but just to identify that you have this and be aware of that and accept that, and then now you have to move on, right? So, okay, I have all these issues. I
want to give you guys more.
Aware of them.
Yeah, I'm just
I embrace them. Right? Okay, so I love you, but it's time to go. Time to go. And so I don't know. I find, like, I do cheesy things like affirmations. I can do this. I can do this. And whatever it is I need to, like, the little engine that could, like, get myself moving, get myself going again. I'll put on, music that I love and get myself distracted. I'll think about the end goal. Like, how is this going to make me feel when all this gets done? And what if this all works out? Like, how great is this going to be? Put yourself mentally in the game. Because I think that's what guys do. Like, they're like, why am I going to, like, think about all that other crap? Like, let me just get it done, So I think affirmations can be really powerful, but you have to believe them. You can say all day long, I'm great, I deserve this, I'm worthy.
Yeah.
But you don't believe it.
Yeah.
So you maybe you tweak that a little bit and you say, I'm willing to believe I'm worthy. I'm willing to believe I can do this. I'm willing to believe that this can really happen. And just by tweaking it and saying that you're stepping a foot more into it, and foot more into it, and foot more into it. You can do this. You can do this.
Yeah.
And little by little, by saying, okay, I got this, when in your mind, and that little voice is like, no, you can't do this. So I find that's a way to kind of tamper that down. She'd be like, no, this is possible. And I believe it. I really do believe it. And deep down inside, you really have to believe it, right?
Yes.
So
you do. And you can also sort of listen to, like, sometimes I feel like I just know it's going to happen. And it does happen. And it does happen. But I also wanted to point out, sometimes when I have that sort of fear monster, I don't recognize it as insecurity or as me down talking myself. I don't. Okay. It's really weird, and I still haven't, like, totally figured this out yet. But I'm working on it. It's very interesting. It's like this resistance, and it's like, it's not, how you hear about people saying, oh, you gotta, what we're saying, like, don't tell yourself you can't do it, like, tell yourself you can. Sometimes, like, the resistance materializes in different ways for me mentally. It doesn't, it's not always like, it's not always that cut and dried. It's really strange. It's almost like, I think, this is so weird telling you guys all this. I think sometimes it's like, I'm distracting myself with other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to look out for those weird little distraction things too. And
I find this procrastination. When I procrastination, I have this amazing quote. I should share. Oh, she's saying, are you saying hi to somebody?
Yeah, sorry. I was just saying hi to, my doodle.
Wait, what's she doing?
My buddy.
I have this other one about how distraction is, you're basically distracting yourself from what you need to do, right? So you'll find all sorts of ways to do that, whether it's, I'm going to take this class and I'm going to learn everything I can learn, and then I'm going to take another class and take another class. And you're not doing anything. There's no action, right? You're learning, you're absorbing all you can, but what are you going to do with this stuff? So, so stop taking classes after a while. It's like, just start doing the work.
That is such good advice. And it's so true. Yeah. And yes, you do need to learn by doing. That is it. Yep. And Jeanette, exactly what you just said. Yeah. Because being in, like, the class, like, having taken a million classes and being in the middle of
classaholic. Yeah.
What's interesting too is that you see this in other people that are taking classes that you take, and you're like, wow, they take a lot of, like, some people take a lot of classes, you know what I mean? So, it's, cause I feel like we all have to get out of our own way. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
Yes.
It's true.
And then we also talked earlier about not being afraid to make mistakes, right? Thanks for the hearts, you guys. It's really, I'm glad this is resonating with everybody.
Yes. Crenshaw.
But yeah, not be afraid to make mistakes. And you had some really good points about that. What were you saying earlier?
Oh, right. Don't wait to make mistakes, because the longer you wait to do something, like, it's never going to be perfect, and you're always going to be learning as you go.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's be honest here. Like, I know, and Jeanetta, I know you know, because you've done a million different things, and we're creative entrepreneurs, right? It's almost like every time we do something new, it's like, you got to relearn the wheel all the time. Like, you're constantly relearning everything, or not relearning, but learning something new for the first, it's like everything is like,
you're stretching.
What is it? What'd you say?
You're stretching. You're stretching yourself. Mm-hmm.
And it's, you don't want to get the, that perfectionism, kills, what did I say? Analysis paralysis, right? That comes into play. Yep. And we all get it. And, you just, like, for instance, I'm starting to make videos. Okay. I got out of my own way with the tech stuff. I got, best camera I could buy. I got the best tripod I can get. I got, now I got everything. Got to learn to use this new stuff. I've never had a fancy camera before, right? So this is like, it's like a delicate piece.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah, it's like a wacky, wild, cool new machine, that does all this crazy stuff. So anyway, what I'm saying is, you got to get out of your own way. That's all.
Yeah,
so,
and you can't. And we were talking about making mistakes.
Making mistakes. Yeah.
It's actually, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Sure, what you have at the best is what you have. Yeah, and actually, just when you do it, you're going to make mistakes. You just are. That's how you're going to learn. You're not going to come out the gates with your first class making $25,000, your online class. Like, you're going to probably have technical difficulties. You're probably not going to realize that there's not strong parts in your class that you probably need to beef up next time. You probably made some mistakes with your marketing and could have gotten more people. There's going to be mistakes, right? So these are the things, like, just do it and make damn mistakes and don't worry about it, because the next time, it's just going to get better and better and better.
Yep.
And I think this is me talking to myself. All right. And I don't know about you guys. This is me coaching myself, because I keep thinking that, like you said, it has to be perfect, and I have to do it right, and I have to figure out the best way to reach people and the systems and the blah, 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 and take all these classes and learn from the experts. And it's kind of a waste. It's like, just if you can just start, and then you can figure out what you need, and then what's missing, and then you could fill in as you go. Yeah. Right? And again, if you flub up or you goofed up, oh well, if you think back at the things we've actually accomplished, we probably did make a ton of mistakes in the meantime, while we were learning.
Yes. Oh my God.
But I don't remember any of that. I actually don't remember those moments, those stupid little moments where I goofed up on this or I goofed up on that. So what? I knocked the camera over during a Periscope one of my first Periscopes. The thing just hit the floor, and tried to teach somebody something, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, but you know what? Now it's funny. Yeah. It's hilarious. I know better. So
I actually really embrace my mistakes, because I've made so many mistakes, and honestly, that's where I get so much of my learning experience from, is the mistakes I've made. I'm not like, hey, come here, mistakes, I don't want them. But when they happen, it's like, you remember them, you learn so much from mistakes. You really do. So I won't go into detail, but I have made, I do remember mistakes, because I feel like I really do. Really? It's like those lessons.
But the little stuff, it's like, I think that's what I noodle around, all the details.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're talking about different...
If you care about things that don't matter, who cares? No one. Yeah.
Right.
We do care about things that don't matter.
Right.
It's true.
Jeanetta, I think I was talking about like bigger mistakes and you're talking about the littler ones, like the knocking over the...
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, yeah. And it's true. And the big ones, that's how we learn, right?
Yeah. That actually, it brings so much value to other people when you're teaching a class, because you're like...
Thank you.
When,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think we just got, like you said, get the heck out of your own way and just start. Just take action. Just start on. I think that's the moral of this whole thing.
Yeah. And this is really helpful for me today, too, because when I got up this morning, I was like, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to exercise. And I was scared. I was scared because I knew what I wanted to start doing was kind of scary. And, like, I didn't really know how to... I'm still like I've taken classes. I've taken big classes. And I'm still like, like it's hard sometimes to get out of your own way. That's all. But
it's extremely hard.
Yeah.
And we got to do it. We got to support one another. We got to, whatever it is, we got to do little affirmations every day. We got to like get up every day and say, this is going to be a good day. I can do this. I look at your to-do list and know that by the end of the day, you got like 3 great things done towards your goals. It's just really, thanks for sharing. I see people are sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. But whatever it is, you just got to take that first step and chip away and
find what works for you.
It's really important.
Like, find what works for you too. Like, find what little...
True.
Like, for me, it is, I do have to write down what I'm doing the next day every night before bed.
Me too.
I know. It just puts me in a better mindset. And then even when I hit roadblocks, it's like... Because for every listed thing, it's kind of like sometimes it's like 10 things, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I try and drill down and make them smaller so I can feel more accomplished when I cross something out.
Actionable tasks. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. And so a lot of what we've been talking about is like the psychological like borders that we put up. So, and that's like more of like a practical thing. But yeah, so I think we've covered it. We covered a lot today.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody's been talking, and I've only seen a few things. I don't know about you, Kathy. Does anybody have anything they want to?
You guys have any
add to this?
Yeah. Any thoughts, comments, feedback, ideas, blah blah blah. So many. Stephanie Corfy says.
Oh,
thanks, Katerina. Love you too.
I can't type that.
Goody gal.
That's awesome.
I can't type that.
I have some really good affirmations, and they're in the other room, and I wanted to share them, but I didn't think about it till now. Maybe I can grab them. But can you make this an everyday show? Oh my goodness, we can't do this every day.
Oh, that would be fun.
We can do this again, though.
We should totally do it again. Yeah.
We can bring some more people into the mix too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Emma.
Thanks so much. I feel like I gained strength from having her here, because if Jeanetta wasn't here, first of all, I would be like, I'm so nervous, guys, because that's what I always do for the first, 5-10 minutes of my Periscope, so.
Me too. I'm not a pro at this at all. It's a scary place to be on live TVs.
It feels better with another person with you.
Oh, you're sweet. Yeah, it does.
She's awesome.
Yeah. Now you know why we like doing the heart to art, because it's like being on the phone or being on Skype with your friend, right?
It is.
But it's public, so.
It really is. And it gives you more context, too, because we can both talk about the same thing, in person,
Yeah. And I don't know, I was just talking to Kathy today, and I felt like we just we're in the same boat right now, and we're both trying to push through, and we both have the same kind of nutty, squirrely brains where we're like making ourselves crazy. We're like, I need help with this.
It's kind of like a constant, especially it feels like the more scary the thing is, the more you have to battle through it, through these things.
Amen.
These mental.
Do you mind if I grab these? I think this would be a good way to end. I'm going to go grab these little affirmation things, and I think there's some awesome gems in here. I've been collecting them for a minute.
Okay, go for it.
Give me 2 seconds. Keep
Love
talking.
It. Okay, I'll keep talking. So I'm just going to fix my thingy and make it a little bit higher. So I'm going to start doing some videos. Now that I have all the equipment, I have no excuse not to. Oh my God, that took no time at all. Here she is. She's back. Oh, headphones in. Okay, good.
Okay. All right. So.
Thank you, Franchelle. I'm going to spruce up my YouTube channel. It might take me a little bit. I know. Okay, let's go to the affirmation.
No worries. This one was a really good one. I apologize. I do not have the source for these because when I just hear them like on a Periscope or I hear them on wherever, I listen to a lot of stuff too. I'm kind of a knowledge junkie and I do overconsume, but I do tend to write things down and actually review them. So this is something that that I think helps me and I think might help you guys too. And I'm sorry I don't have the source. All right, first one is drama is a way to avoid facing fears of success or inadequacy. Let's think about that one. Just digest that one for a minute. Drama is a way to avoid facing fears of success or inadequacy. So it's another way to procrastinate, and it's another way to, sorry, I was talking in the microphone. Another way to procrastinate, right? Mm-hmm. Through drama. Mm-hmm.
And distract. Distract right? yourself.
So, goodness.
It's like, let me think about this. Let me think about this instead.
Yeah, let me go create drama because I don't want to deal with my own problems. So I'm going to go make something else to get, the mind is powerful. It's excuses. You're making excuses. But I'm going to go create drama somewhere else so I have some other distraction to focus on so I don't have to do my own stuff, right? All right. And then I put this on my, I actually wrote this out on my Instagram the other day. If you had no fear, what would you do? So, and that kind of just goes back to like banishing that little voice in your head, right? Like you said, that little person in your head. So that fear goes away. Now, you can do it, right? Like you can go do everything you want to do. You know, thinking like a guy, like you said.
I will say, I always have trouble with that one. Every time I see it someplace, I'm like, it's just, Erica, you can do it.
Yeah, you can.
You can do it. You can self-publish if you want. Absolutely. You know, like you don't have to. Children's is a whole other like Periscope, and someday we should talk about that because I did children's for many years, and I feel like, or can I just say, I feel like children's is the hardest. It's that I have tried. I'm not saying of everything. It's harder than art licensing, I think, to break into and to like maintain a career trajectory in. It's brutal. Anyway, and I have the utmost respect for my friends who are children's illustrators because it's just, but don't ever let that be, that should never, ever be a detractor. Before I started doing children's illustration, everyone was like, oh my God, it's so hard. It's the hardest. It's the hardest. And if I listened to everybody, I wouldn't have done it. And you know what? For years, I didn't do it because I was scared. And I had to learn. Point. And then I finally did do it. And I did it for a few years. And I'm like, you know what? I really want to do licensing. I really want to do licensing.
You made a really good point there, too. You listen to everyone else. And that's not good. No. Don't listen to other people.
That's actually why it took me so long to break into do art licensing, too. Because I went to the licensing expo, and forgive me, you guys, if you've heard this story before, because I have told it before, but I started licensing in about 2000, like officially, 2009, 2010, but it took me years to do it. I went to Surtex.
I have the same story.
Oh, you know? I went to Surtex in the art licensing expo in 2006, and at the Art Licensing Expo, I took all the classes at Surtex. I took all the classes at Art Licensing Expo. And there was a woman on the stage who was giving her speech. And she said, you never get a second chance to make a first impression in art licensing. And that scared me for years. For years, I was like terrified because I didn't.
Wow.
I was feeling very vulnerable. And
that's absolutely not true.
Okay. She said in licensing, and at this point, this was me as like sponge girl. Like, I'm like, tell me because I'm learning. I want to learn this. And it was really, that was really powerful. And that's like one of the type of mistake things that you learn so much. Like now I have this to give to you. But, it really did, like, mess me up for a while with licensing. Like, I was really scared of licensing for a long time. And I did all this other stuff that actually was cool because it built my career in different ways. But it also distracted me from doing licensing because I was too busy doing pet portraits and doing children's illustration, which I also wanted to do. But, but it like you distract yourself,
Yes.
from doing other things sometimes. That's how it works.
I did the exact same. I kind of did the same, a very similar thing.
I want to hear your story.
I was living in San Francisco. I moved up there in the early 2000s, and I was working as a graphic designer, and a new graphic designer, and I still miss being an artist, and I was trying to find other ways. So I was like reaching out to the art community, going to workshops and doing things, and then I stumbled into this woman had this workshop for artists to market themselves, and I went, and come to find out she was an art agent, and she was looking for artists to take to Surtex, and she's never done it before. And I'm dating myself, and I'm giving my age out, but this was 2001 or 2. And I was like, what is surface craft? I don't even know what this is. So she convinced me. I slapped together the ugliest, most god-awful 100 patterns. I printed them out, and I gave it to her, and she took them to the show. We did a little contract for the show. She ended up losing one of my pieces. Back then, she said people would just take them off the table.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was bad. I never saw it in the marketplace, but whatever. I didn't make any money with her. We clearly ended that. But that was my introduction to surface pattern design and
Wow.
all that. And I'm like, what is that? I still don't even know what the show was about. So I went searching more for it, and I ended up taking classes at a fabric design studio. And then when I moved back to Southern California, I took surface pattern design classes here in Los Angeles, actually at the school that I teach at. And then I took some consulting workshops. I mean, I overconsumed. This is what we're talking about, right? Like,
I did that too.
Damn classes.
I had an art licensing consultant and all this stuff too, and I kept taking classes too.
Yeah,
so I totally get it.
Control. I'm like, I just want to know everything I can know about this so I can do it right the next time.
Yeah.
And it was, I was obsessed with it though, because I loved it.
Yeah.
But I was working a full-time job, and then one of the women actually who was in my class back in 2006. I'm not going to mention names now, but she does very well, and she has an agent, and she's been doing it ever since, and she's like killing it. And she was somebody I learned from. She was so excited about it. I took her to meet the consultant. I was like, you gotta meet this lady. She can, talk to you about contracts and how to do the shows and blah, blah, blah. So she met her, and she was like fired up. She's like, this is what I want to do in my life.
Wow.
She did the show the very next year, and then the year after, and then now I was an agent, and now she's killing it, and now she's a veteran, right? What did I do? I sat on my hands, kept thinking about it. Like, I don't know. I can't afford a trade show. I'm never going to do this.
Yep.
I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I'm not supposed to do this. All of that stuff happened. I went through that. And I finally, it just kept coming back into my life, where I met a woman who was, we were doing a collective. This is back in like, I don't know, was it 2013 I did the show? And she was putting together a collective, and she was doing a workshop at her house, and a friend of mine was like, hey, I came across this art licensing workshop. You might want to check this out. I think this is something you used to take classes for or something. And I was like, okay. So I went, met her, and come to find out, she's like, yeah, we're doing a collective. You want to come? Next thing you know, I'm at Surtex with like 5 people the next year. And I think it was meant to be. How many years later was this? Because I was in 12 years later?
Mm-hmm.
But like you, I didn't pursue it because I didn't think I could afford it, or I didn't think whatever the limiting beliefs were. And it took so long for me to get there. And I think the universe just kept shoving it in my face.
Yeah.
Because this is something I never even thought about. Honestly, it was just brought to me, and then it just kept popping up, and then I was like, oh, there's classes for this. Oh, and then I got hooked. I'm taking classes. So I can teach it back and forth, left and right, because I've taken every freaking class in the world. But it's, it's doing the work and not and getting out of your own way, right? And not being afraid to make those first moves and putting yourself out there and spending the money and whatever it is you gotta do to make it happen. You gotta do it.
Investing.
And I finally listened to that voice. It took me years.
Yep. And now I try not to. Now I always listen to my gut. I'm like, what is my gut saying? Because that's the voice that I got to listen to now. Like, I try not to pay attention to this stuff. I just try and listen to my gut now, because that's really the truth. That's my truth. Because every time I feel like I've maybe made a wrong turn, it's always been like my gut has been telling me something else. And that's that. There's one other thing about that's along with this that I just wrote down because it made me think. Another really important piece, and I did a huge blog post about this it's in my blog, like from probably May or June.
Okay.
Consultants your consultants that you hire, they don't always have all the answers for you. You just have to listen to your gut. You got to take whatever information is presented to you, and, hopefully you trust and love them and think they're great and appreciate them. And then, there's a battery of things that you probably want to find out in a consultant. That's in my blog post too. But, you can't always take you got to listen to your own internal voice. I just can't stress that enough because sometimes I have, listened to people and, and maybe, I could have gone a different way. That's all.
Right.
You just learn after trial and error. There's times in my life where I've been like, I want to hire someone to tell me what to do. And no one's going to tell you what to do that's going to really know you and know your situation. You know what I mean? It's like that has to come from within. You can get like the functional and the practical information, but you got to listen to and the thing about listening to your gut is the more you listen to it, the clearer you hear it, the less you pay attention to it, the muddier the voice gets. That's my experience. So
I think that's a really, really, really profound and amazing way to describe that, because that's exactly what happens when we tamper that down. We don't want to hear it. Then we get more confused. The confusion sets in, right? And we get more distracted. And then we just get those voices take over. Mm-hmm. And then they get drowned out. So
and you don't know what you're
really
hearing.
Don't hear anything.
Are you hearing wishful thinking? Or are you hearing your gut saying, like you don't, it gets very confusing.
Yeah. And then that's the icky place. And that's where I know we all tend to live there, right? We get confused or overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed easily sometimes when I know there's a big task at hand or there's something I want to do. And I'm like, just thinking I look at the end game and I'm like, but how do I get there? And when I should be thinking about the short game, right? So,
yes. Mm-hmm. That's where I get, because I can get like a brief to do, I need XYZ. And I'll get that done. Like, I get it done. Mm-hmm. But give me the big picture. I need to break it down into tasks. And that's really where I get messed up, because whereas the big task, my big thing that I'm working on right now, that is where I get messed up. I have to stop myself. I literally have to be like, stop, focus on what you're doing today. And what do you want to have done today? Because when I look too far, it can really
it's daunting. Yeah.
It is. It can freeze you. It can really, and I feel like lately it's like I feel like I have to do that every day. Like I'm constantly in that space where I need to like manage that always. So
yeah. And then hopefully we can all get to the place where it's not, once you do that big thing, then you've done it. Then you won't have to manage that anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, then you move on.
You want to get there.
Yeah, I'll get there. I'm getting there. I mean, I've already accomplished a ton towards stuff, so I feel good.
Yeah. For you.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just constant. It's like it's never one and done. It's always like you're constantly managing it. I love your affirmations though. Do you have any more?
Oh yeah, that was just a couple. I mean, there's so many more, but I think everybody can just like write what they need. Like think about I tell people to like think about, write like the top 10 things right now that are holding you back in your head. Like go, and I'm sure they'll flow out, because that seems to be like where we live, right? And then when that comes out, then you have to kind of reframe those and be like, is this true? Is this really true? Is this not true? And start questioning them, and then reframe them like, no, I can blah, 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 blah. Or, this is possible, or I'm willing to believe that this is possible. Because once you start looking at them, you realize that they really don't have any power. And like you said, it's just that little dude that's in your head that's trying to hold you back. So yeah, just do that. And then refer to them every time you start to freak out and be like, you know what? This is silly. This is really silly, because nothing will ever get done if this is how I live my life, if these are my values, that I think I'm never good enough. I think I can never handle this. I think I can, this will never happen for me. Then it won't. Right. It really, really won't. So
I just remembered one other thing. And another thing is, when you're stuck in that place, I always have to ask myself, what would I tell my daughter to do? I love that because it takes you, good. And that's actually right along what I'm talking about right now, what I'm about to say, because it's when you can take yourself, and I mentioned this earlier, when I notice when I teach, when I can get out of my own darn head and being scared, and believe me, I've been very terrified teaching before, staring at the ceiling, telling my story, because it can freeze you, right? But when you remember, when you get into what you're teaching and sharing, and you really are really in the value that you're giving, like when you're in that moment and you're giving more than you're worried, you know what I mean? That's the sweet spot right there. Like when you're outside your own head and you're sharing your own truth and your own value, like that is where you want to be. Outside of your own head and your own little, and just fully serving, that's really where you want to be. And that's where I feel like I'm at my best. That's when it's that's the magic right there. That's the magic.
It is the magic. And that's when you're being your true self. You're being authentic. Yes. You're sharing. You're on purpose. You're on point. You're all that. And I think and then think about when you get lost in making art. That's that same moment of bliss, right? That's follow your bliss kind of thing. You're locked in. You're engaged in what you're doing, and it's just coming and flowing out of you. And that's the flow. That's where we want to always be. If that's the goal, right?
Yes.
So we can be there and just be our authentic selves and share our knowledge with everyone and feel comfortable and be comfortable doing it and just emote and do the darn thing. I think. And
know that as long as you're being genuine, you're gonna reach somebody. And it's gonna be worth it for that person. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let's all try to be in that state of flow today. I think that's going to be my intention for the rest of the day. Is to be in that blissful place where I know I'm creating from my heart and from my authentic self, being my true authentic self. So, again, easier said than done, but I think it's very helpful when you I want to get more Jeanetta
in mind, right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to get you in the camera more.
Oh, it's okay. I realized I've been talking down because I was looking at the phone so I could see you. So sorry, everybody, if you could see my face.
Thanks, Franchelle.
I just adjusted it now.
No, I thought you looked fine.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah, I guess we exhausted this one, but I know I feel better. I don't know if you.
I do too. This has been therapeutic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been awesome.
Mm-hmm. Tuesday therapy with Kathy and Jeanetta here. So.
Okay, is that the name of our new Periscope?
It might have to be. Yeah.
Tuesday therapy. I love it.
I was just, Or we could do motivational Mondays. I don't know.
Ooh, you're good. Oh, I'm putting this back down for a minute.
This is me and my flow right now.
I love it. I gotta take notes. Wait, what was the Tuesday one therapy?
Tuesday therapy or motivational
we're serious
Monday.
about this, guys. Let us know if that's something you'd be interested in. I'm taking it that you would be.
Yeah, this would be the touchy-feely, the woo-woo touchy-feely inner
Thank you, Annika.
Inner work that we need to do.
Yeah. All right. Want to hang it up for today?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay,
Kathy, this has been so much fun. I'm glad we hopped on and did this.
You too. I'm so glad too. Yeah, high five. Let's do a screen high five.
Hi, screen high five.
Let's do a screen high five.
Can you do that?
Okay. Yeah. There we go.
Yay.
High five, guys. High five. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, guys. Well,
we're gonna hang it up.
Maybe next week. And then text us or whatever. Let us know.
Yeah. Facebook, Instagram, all that. Yeah.
Let us know what you think. If there's anything that you want to talk about, I guess we can make conversations out of this.
That would be cool. I'd love it. Okay. All right, cool. It's better than me just talking. Okay. Bye.
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 Bye.